knowledge being spread. It's like warm butter across the bread. Smooth, I know you like that. Flow with the grain and don't fight that. You want righteous love, you found the right match. With Marty McFly, they on the right track. Yeah, gotta dig some dirt to plant the seed. Spread roots till you sprout like a tree. Doni Jones, she the one you wanna see. Doni Jones live, this is where you wanna be. It's Doni Jones live, Doni Jones live. It's Doni Jones live, Doni Jones live. It's Doni Jones live, Doni Jones live.
Hey, 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 welcome to Doni Jones Live. I am Donnie the Tree Lady hanging out with...
Yes, that guy, Marty McFly, who is on a different side of the room today. I'm being isolated. I don't know if it's COVID or 16.
You are so not being isolated
16
right
to
now.
6 feet away, I don't know. I'm just trying to make sure I'm distant. But actually, it's for another reason. We're going to get into it in a second.
It is for another reason, but you're the one that is saying that I contaminate you because I'm always out there without my mask on, so...
Yeah, and you don't want to be that... Well, we ain't going to get into that. Anyway, how was your week? How was your week?
It has been very, very good. It's been awesome, and I'm really excited about today's show, but I'm gonna, save that for about a minute or so later. But yeah, I'm having a good one. I did a little horseback riding again. I'm back in the saddle, so I did that this week. And
we on gospel shows.
I know.
Gospel stations.
Gosh.
We don't need to know about
a real horse. I'm back on a real horse this
Okay.
week after, taking a little time off. But what about you, man? How have you been?
I've been well. Working out with, taking on the new role of pastor at the church and starting some new things there. So I'm happy about that.
Wait a minute. You can't say you taking on a new. We've been telling people for a few years now that you're also Marty McFly, but you're also Minister Marty McFly. So you got to clarify.
Yeah, well, I can clarify. Yeah, I'm now pastor. Official.
Yeah.
Because see, before then, I had to play politics. I had to be nice. But now that I signed the paper, now I can fire some people at church.
Oh, my God.
I can say, take your Holy Ghost down the street. I'm tired of your mustard seed. But anyway, I am, but even more so, I'm more excited today because,
I am very excited.
Donnie, there is few people that you meet in your life that really has so much of an impact that reshapes your life.
Yeah.
And this gentleman that is coming on today, okay, now, being honest, he doesn't need a real intro because if you've done anything in gospel, you've heard this name. You've seen him on TV, you hear him on radio. I don't care if you in Atlanta market or if you online in different markets, you will hear this man's voice.
Multiple markets,
and been one of my mentors for many, many years. And actually, he's one of them that gave me my chance that actually got in radio, and changed my whole life. So, ladies and gentlemen, he's a radio personality. I've known him as he's been in stage plays.
Yeah.
I knew him a long time ago. He was in a singing group.
Come on.
He's been a halftime show announcer for Morris Brown. He's actually, you can hear his voice in Morris Brown's with Drumline.
Yeah.
The halftime announcer on Drumline, the movie.
Yeah.
That's him. And there's none other than Mr. Reggie Gay.
Oh my goodness. I wondered who he was talking to.
Welcome to the show.
Yes, welcome in the building.
Welcome to the show, Mr. Reggie Gay. We are
Thank you.
so excited to have you on.
Thank you
and
so
one
much.
thing he didn't mention, but I guess in a way he did mention, which is the reason I'm so excited, is because you're an entrepreneur. Like you wear all these hats, but the underlying tone is the fact that you are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm excited because I just called you my husband's name.
Let's lay that
We're gonna leave it alone.
Keep going. It's a
But
good
the
day.
reason why like I said, my passion is entrepreneurship.
Thank you.
And bringing good things to the community.
That's
and
right.
you've done that, but you've done it through the gospel music industry.
Right.
And that just fascinates me. And
Thank you.
just proud to be able to sit next to you. Really.
Thank you.
And I don't have COVID. Okay.
Oh, praise God. Hallelujah. Yeah, I've been answering you like this.
I know Marty don't want to sit this close to me, but we good. So people do know you because you're in multiple markets and you've been around for a long time. But who is Reggie Gay? Like, where did you start and how did you become this icon that we know and love?
Well, wow, that's a big question. Well, originally from Kentucky, and I was raised in the church. So this gospel thing with me is not something that I started once I got to Atlanta. I've been doing this all my life, My father was head of the deacon board, so that means, translated, we were the first ones there.
Yes.
In the winter, you turn the heat on. In this case, it was a potbelly stove.
Oh, my goodness.
And we didn't have no air conditioners. Back in those days, it was in the 60s, so you lifted the windows so the fresh air, not fresh, but the fresh.
Fresh.
Air could come in. You get it, right?
Exactly.
So this is what I do. I was raised in the church. My parents put boundaries on my life as a child.
Yeah.
So it's the scripture, train up a child in the way it should go. Well, here I am.
Awesome. So you think my kids are going to be okay?
Absolutely.
Well.
Yeah. I was raised in the church. I'm the oldest of 6. My parents, I love them. And that's just who I am, you know. So what people see with Reggie Gay as an adult is what I was as a child.
Yeah.
This is not something that I put on and take off. I try my best to live a Christian life. My father, painted a real clear analogy one day. I asked him, I said, Daddy, what was I like as a kid?
Yeah.
And he said, well, you didn't give me no trouble. You had a few hiccups. Hiccups, that's an interesting
That's
description.
an interesting word, right? Yeah.
But pretty much he raised you and he raised me, and here I am,
Yes.
Grateful.
And we're glad you are here,
Thank you.
One of the things that excited me was this thing that I've seen you do year after, I want to say year after year, but over the seasons, is that you reinvent yourself.
Oh, yeah.
For the most part, I knew of you from the radio. If you hear his voice, I'm sure you guys are like, wow, that's a familiar voice, because many of the people heard you on the radio, but then you transitioned into TV.
Yeah.
And now you're seen all over the place, but you've kind of changed with the times. It's not like you stayed stuck back in a certain area.
Right.
And the reason why I mention that is because there are people in the gospel industry or just all different industries that seem stuck.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
How did you get to the point where you're like, okay, I've got to reinvent myself?
Well, I'm a trained broadcaster and graduated from Eastern Kentucky University with a degree in broadcasting. And I remember clearly, all these years later, lectures that said there's going to be a time, perhaps times plural, that you're going to have to reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
And keep up with the trend of things. Shirley Caesar,
Yes.
mother of gospel music.
That's right.
Shirley Caesar's in her early 80s.
Yeah.
And have you ever wondered why she's still out there? Because Shirley Caesar understood the same principle. You have to reinvent yourself when necessary.
Yeah.
Things change. The one constant in life is change.
That's
If you
right.
stay the same way, then you're going to get left behind.
That's
You
right.
get processed out.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, I was trained to change. I was trained to
Okay.
keep up with the trend of things.
Okay.
Radio began to elude me in the early 2000s because the business began to change.
Yeah.
There's that word again. And I just kind of followed the trend.
Yes.
I was taught to keep up with trends. And because radio began to elude, I saw an opportunity to put a product on television.
Yes.
And voila, here we
And
are.
here you are.
And I gotta
love
just
it.
admit that he is one of them that has always been in front of the curve.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
I've seen, we been in radio, you've seen people that 1 minute they're afternoon drive. And like the next season,
No.
they're at a hotel saying, "Yes, can I help you?"
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like that book of Who Moved My Cheese. They got too comfortable.
Yeah.
But I've seen Reggie over the years that you can see that curve.
Yeah.
And it's like let me reshift a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
not just be radio, and
Yep.
Sunday morning radio.
Yep.
Because there's DJs here in the Atlanta market that's been Sunday morning DJs for many years.
They'll be calling no names.
I ain't gonna call no names, but there's few people that they know. They've been there many years, and you don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
They never really reinvented themselves to do anything else. So like Reggie, to me, he's always been forever young because he's always been on the cusp of, and I think that's important for any industry and any business.
is.
But
It is.
so just I'm gonna throw that out there because it's something that I'm learning too with
Absolutely.
watching him and reading his life book in a sense.
So with you being a man of change and a man that has been able to keep up with the times, how do you stay true to yourself? And the reason why I'm asking that is because I do try to mentor when I can other entrepreneurs, and then I've also had to change for myself.
Okay.
For those of you that don't know, in Atlanta, I'm known as Doni the Tree Lady. I own a tree care company, and when I first started,
That's you.
That's her.
sir.
Yes.
I've seen that. Oh my stars. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
You look at that. No offense, and certainly don't want to sound sexist, but when you look at that, for me, now for somebody else, it could be a different story.
Yeah.
But for me, that conjures up a male point of view.
It does.
Maybe
It really does. It really does.
You are.
Right. Donnie the Tree Lady.
Shut the front door.
Yeah.
Y'all, we having a real live moment on radio.
Right.
I love it. But that goes to show you what I'm talking about. Because when I first started, people were like, you don't want to put your face on anything. It's a male-dominated industry.
Yeah.
And then I started seeing things change where people were starting to embrace people of color. There was the women's movement and all this kind of thing. And I was like, wait a minute. People need to know that I'm black.
That's right.
And that I'm a woman.
That's
but
right.
I didn't want to get on a billboard saying, hi, I'm a black-owned company, black woman.
Yeah.
So I say, what's a way I can do that? I was like, I just put my picture up there.
Wow.
And it says it for itself.
Yeah.
So I had to change my way of thinking as far as my advertising.
Absolutely.
But going back to you, because we're here to talk about you, not me.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So I hear entrepreneurs that don't want to change with the times because they feel like they're not being true to themselves. How do you stay true to Reggie Gay, but still move with the times?
Well, you stay true by holding on to those basic core principles. Get up every day and go to work, because ain't nobody going to give you nothing. Number 2, be honest in your dealings, because if you trick folk or you trap folk up, it's going to come back. What goes around comes around.
That's right.
Sometimes in double and triple proportions. And 3, I think, be broad enough in your thinking that you are not afraid to create something that stays on the edge.
Yeah.
You keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results.
That's right.
Which is what I'd have done if I had stayed in the business of where I was in the 90s. Then I probably would have been processed out by now.
Absolutely.
So you have to be willing to reinvent self when necessary. Now, does that mean you need to change your morals? That need to change your work? No. You have to keep up the trend of things.
That's right. That's
I'm
right.
saying, I always say this. I don't see Reggie going out with skinny jeans on now.
I don't see skinny jeans.
Saying, let me
get them on.
Let me reinvent myself. I'm gonna have some hot yellow. Because I thought about that too. Reinventing myself, because I think it'd be a shock if I became like Pastor Yellow Butter or something like that. It just has some
yellow butter.
And just has spandex all over. But anyway,
we're gonna tell you where the yellow butter came from.
But anyway, we're going to take a quick break. Right now, you're listening to Doni Jones Live with Doni Jones and Marty McFly. And we're hanging out with Reggie Gay. We'll be right back.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hey guys, I'm Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service. We are an Atlanta-based tree service serving all of Metro Atlanta. And you know what? We proudly serve the underserved. And not only that, when we cut down your trees, we don't charge extra for cleaning up. So give us a call at 770-413-8733. That's 770-413-TREE. Check out Don's Tree Service online or at www.donstree.com.
Don's Tree Service.
Hey, this is Marty McFly. Now, if you listen to the show, there's not a secret I'm a minister. I'm actually a pastor of a church, a wonderful church in East Point, Georgia, called St. Mark Lutheran Church. And what I want to do is invite you to one of our services, or any of our services. See, our service is online, on YouTube, and it's free. You ain't got to pay for it. You ain't even got to do offering. But I invite you to share with me in worship, and just check it out. If you like it, subscribe. And you can actually send me a message or a question. But it's St. Mark Lutheran Church with Minister Marty Ringer. You can actually log on right now and have church with me. That's St. Mark Lutheran Church with Minister Marty Ringer.
Hi, I'm Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service and author of my book, From Failure to Fabulous. From Failure to Fabulous is my story about taking my life from being an abject failure to building a fabulous life that I absolutely love. And I'm hoping that you'll take the time to check out my book, From Failure to Fabulous.
Get your copy of this inspiring book by Doni Jones, entitled From Failure to Fabulous, available now on Amazon and DoniJonesLive.com.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Welcome back to Doni Jones Live. I am Donnie the Tree Lady, and I'm hanging out with Pastor Yellow Butter.
I told you it was going to
stick.
Let the church grease up. Let the church grease up.
Oh my God, not the church grease up. You going to hell.
I'll be sliding down.
Oh!
Snap diggity.
Lord, just slide right on into hell. Swoosh.
Slide all in.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
We have officially went in the wrong direction.
Oh, Lord
I
Jesus.
say the thoughts of this show is not, don't.
That's
we have to
right.
put-
You sure disclaimer.
Yeah, exactly. These views do not reflect the opinions of this station.
Right.
Because we know Arkansas, y'all might be like writing in on us, so don't do that. This is all us. We having fun.
That's funny.
But that does bring to mind though. You've got a good name in the industry, and somehow you've been able to maintain that, and that's important while reinventing
Absolutely
yourself.
it is.
So,
yeah.
can you talk about how you've been able to stay above the fray? Because there's been all kinds of stuff
Sure.
that has been, I guess, coming out as far as the gospel music industry is concerned, as far as controversy and stuff.
Sure.
But you seem to be able to stay right in that sweet spot
Yep.
where you're able to entertain, do
Yeah.
what you do, and
Yeah.
stay out of the
Yeah.
mire and muck.
Well, I guess it would go back to my daddy. I love my father. Rock of Gibraltar for our family. Dad is there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just there. If you want to see a picture, a good example, and a picture of a father, it would be my father, James
Yeah.
Gay. Just an incredibly steady guy. And he said to me my entire life, Reginald, if he said Reginald, he wanted my undivided attention. Yeah. If he called my whole name, God, what have I done? Gee whiz, I got to explain to my daddy. But he said, Reginald, if you lose your reputation, you don't have anything.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of foundation upon my life is built.
Right.
My father. And so that's how. Furthermore, reputation is key. Gee whiz, in defense of some who may have made a mistake, I mean, we've all made mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and try to paint a picture that I've been perfect. No. Have I done some dumb stuff? Absolutely.
Well, I saw this one thing on it. I'm just kidding.
Just we're talking about that. Just we're talking about that. No, but serious. But somebody that's watching for real, let's be careful and not paint this picture of this glorified saint Reggie
Yes,
Gay.
sir.
No.
Yeah.
No, there've been days when I have struggled,
Yeah.
but God and the grace of God,
But God,
and
yes.
God and the grace of
Yes.
God, and then my parents who just put boundaries on my life. And the song comes to mind, Donnie McClurkin, We Fall Down. Did you
Love
get
me
back
some
up?
Donnie.
Yes.
You know?
Oh my God! Did you see the interview he did with I forget what it is, what station it is, but he talked about falling down and getting back up. And the place where he had the hardest time getting back up was in the Christian community. It took a while.
Sometimes we can be so overly critical. We
Yeah.
forget that, who of us can pick up a rock in a glass house?
That's right.
Nobody.
That's
you can't
right.
pick up a rock in a glass house. You
That's
just
right.
can't. Because, the Bible says, but by the grace of God, we have all fallen short.
That's right.
But thank God for his grace and his mercy.
That's right.
And so
That's right.
to answer your question, that's where, how have I stayed out? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to spot a red flag. And you can see red flags coming down the road.
Yeah, that's right.
Somebody coming to you and they're, now the key is to be cordial to people. And that's been a mantra of mine too. I may not necessarily want to get involved, but I'm still going to be cordial.
Yes.
You find the right way and the tactful and diplomatic way to say to them, no, thank you.
Yeah.
And then you just move on. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? Not just slam doors in people's faces and run people down. Nah.
So would you, going back to, I'm sorry.
Can I throw this in there because this is a real life situation.
Okay.
That I got to bring up because Reggie is true to what he says. Okay?
Thank you, Marty. I appreciate
that. And I'm gonna throw this out there for myself because this is my information. So many moons ago, many moons ago, I just say for instance, I got
Here's what had happened.
Here's what had happened is I was early years in college. And I had two cars. And I remember, this is me being a little naive, but I had one tag valid and one tag wrong.
Oh, gosh.
And I put the wrong tag,
You
switched the tags.
Lord Jesus.
And this was during the time that I was pledging for my fraternity, so it was in the middle of the night. I'm going home.
Lord Jesus.
And I get pulled over by the cops. And they run my plates and they said, okay, this guy, wrong car, tags messed up.
Right.
They get my information. They say, what's your name? And I'm kind of naive, so I'm trying to be professional. I'm like, Ringer, Marty. So they write my name down, Ringer, Marty. Okay, so then I get locked up. They put me in Fulton County as Ringer Marty, alias Marty Ringer.
Right.
And I don't have anybody's phone numbers except Reggie Gay.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
And Reggie Gay was like, well, I'm going to come to his defense. I'm going to come down there. And they were like, and I think he called and They said, who are you trying to help out? I'm trying to help out a Marty Ringer. They say, alias Marty Ringer? And Reggie was like, alias? I don't know who this brother really is. I ain't get no more phone calls. He's like, I'm just gonna let that one play on out, because we were just kind of learning, and I could understand that. He was like, alias. That ain't even his real name.
Yeah.
Hold on.
You know, there's a
So
story
you basically left Marty in jail. I'm just.
But
you know,
I don't get caught up here.
There's a story that can follow that. That's a good one, Marty. That's a story. Esmond Patterson, the legendary Esmond Patterson, when I moved to Atlanta years ago, and I crossed his path. Esmond Patterson was king of gospel radio at the time.
Right.
He could run, he was so popular, he could run for mayor of Atlanta and win. That's how popular he was. Yeah. So I came in the door at the studios, radio station, and he said, your name really Reggie Gay? I said, yes, sir. Good. Now this is Esmond Patterson talking. Good. You keep your daddy's name. Yeah, that honor your daddy. He come down here and these different names, you don't know who the hell they are.
Right. You never know who they are. Is that your real name?
Yeah.
That was such an incredibly grounding moment for me.
You
know, it was just a grounding instance where I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you know, it brings to mind what I was taught as a kid, like your family name. There was this thing about legacy.
Badge of honor.
It's a badge of honor, and I feel like
Right.
somewhere along the line we lost that.
Absolutely.
Because we get into this idea where, okay, well, we got to keep it real. We got to be transparent. There was a lot of junk that went on with my family, and actually I was talking about it this morning. But there was still a part of me that felt like I had to rise to the occasion and do good for my family name, even though I knew there was junk all in the mix. Can you talk about, can you see the changes over the last, couple of years where people don't seem to be mindful of reputation or mindful of legacy, and how you think that might affect their ability to do business or to grow in what they're doing?
That's a really deep question. I'll start by saying the internet changed things.
Yes.
Okay? You can go out online and you can be whoever you want to be. And I think that is part of the issue. Number two, the internet also gives everybody with a smartphone a microphone. And let's face it, a lot of stuff that makes its way to the internet does nothing but purely inflames.
That's right.
It does nothing to encourage. It does not. Now, this is my opinion. Let me issue a disclaimer. All right, this is my opinion. There's nothing but inflames. It's rhetoric. It's misleading in many cases. While there is a lot of good stuff on the internet, still we seem to be overwhelmed. We live in an age now where we into this. What they call the TV, reality TV.
Reality TV,
You know, I think we've gotten so far away from what is good and right, and to use a powerful tool like the internet to really influence in the right way. I think colleges and universities that offer communications degrees need to deal with that.
Yes,
and not allow students to matriculate and come out of school with a misguided interpretation of the responsibility that goes with anything that you post.
That's right.
Yeah.
Once you put it out there, you can't take it down. It's out there.
And I think people really forget about that. They kind of feel like if I say this or if I post this, it doesn't really affect anybody. Nobody's really
that's not
it.
true.
And it shifts so many people's mindset, because sometimes people read that and say, this is true.
Yeah.
Well, you know, nowadays people like controversy and drama, and it's like it's what sells.
Yeah.
But you're able to do what you do without controversy and drama. How do you, as a broadcaster and somebody that's in the industry, how do you still make yourself marketable to the masses and stay true to staying away from drama and controversy?
Well, I think you just said it. You stay true to what you know. I mean, you know, right is always going to trump wrong. You know, it may seem as though wrong is winning for a season, but you know what? It always comes around. I said a moment ago, what goes around comes around, sometimes in double and triple proportions.
That's right.
And so, you know, it goes back again to foundational stuff, what my parents taught me growing up. That's foundational stuff, you know. Unfortunately, we live in an age now, a lot of single parent households, black females. You know, Sugar Avery had the most prolific line in the movie Color Purple. Children have just got to have a paw. You remember that?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And I had both, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just very, very fortunate. I had parents that put boundaries on me.
Yeah.
I got the best of both worlds. My mother was primarily the disciplinarian. She'd slap you on GP.
Yeah.
Just to remind, good principle, just to remind you that she could.
Right.
Yeah. My daddy would take him a lot, you know, but if
Yeah.
he whipped you, you really probably needed it.
Yeah.
So I said all that to say, you know, how have I managed? It goes back again to foundation and family.
Yeah.
You know,
Foundation
what was poured into you? What were you taught?
Yeah.
You know, what did you glean in those formative years when you were, you know, when you start realizing life, when you were like 3 or 4 or 5 years old?
Yeah.
It's foundational stuff,
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
Thank God I had the kind of parents, you know, that put it in me. And here I am, a grown man now all these years
Yeah.
later, and it manages my life. So
Red,
love that.
just curious, you're on multiple platforms, and
Yeah.
I'm saying you got a wealth of knowledge. How can somebody follow you now?
Yes.
I'm saying,
How we get in contact?
yeah, sure. I'm on social media, of course. You can go to Reggie Gay on Facebook, ReggieGay.com, the business page on Facebook, and then there's a page called the Reggie Gay Gospel Show. So you can get me on all those places. You can follow me on Twitter, but it'll drive you especially to my website, ReggieGay.com.
That's right.
Got an app in the marketplace. Those of you that are out there listening right now and watching, you got a mobile unit in your hand, or you got one somewhere.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's where the world talks these days,
That's right.
right? You can go to the marketplace. You got the Android, go to Google Play. And if you got the iPhone, go to App Store. And Amazon also has the app.
Awesome.
And it streams audio.
When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about that.
Okay?
A little bit more about that. You guys, we're listening to Reggie Gay.
Yep.
Right on Doni Jones Live. We'll be right back.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hey guys, I'm Doni the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service. We are an Atlanta-based tree service serving all of Metro Atlanta. And you know what? We proudly serve the underserved. And not only that, when we cut down your trees, we don't charge extra for cleaning up. So give us a call at 770-413-8733. That's 770-413-TREE. Check out Don's Tree Service online or at www.donstree.com.
Don's Tree Service.
Hey, this is Marty McFly. Now, if you listen to the show, there's not a secret I'm a minister. I'm actually a pastor of a church, a wonderful church in East Point, Georgia, called St. Mark Lutheran Church. And what I want to do is invite you to one of our services, or any of our services. See, our service is online, on YouTube, and it's free. You ain't got to pay for it. You ain't even got to do offering. But I invite you to share with me in worship, you know, and just check it out. If you like it, subscribe. And you can actually send me a message or a question. But it's St. Mark Lutheran Church with Minister Marty Ringer. You can actually log on right now and have church with me. That's St. Mark Lutheran Church with Minister Marty Ringer.
Hi, I'm Doni the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service and author of my book, From Failure to Fabulous. From Failure to Fabulous is my story about taking my life from being an abject failure to building a fabulous life that I absolutely love. And I'm hoping that you'll take the time to check out my book, From Failure to Fabulous.
Get your copy of this inspiring book by Doni Jones, entitled From Failure to Fabulous, available now on Amazon and DoniJonesLive.com.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Donnie, just do me another one.
Read that one.
No, that one's fine. Do me another one. Just saying, we're gonna take a. That's gonna be the
right. So you can cut that.
Right.
Okay. We're gonna take a quick break. You are listening to Doni Jones Live with Doni Jones and Marty McFly with our wonderful guest Reggie Gay.
Mm-hmm. Now give me an end of the show one.
End of the show one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because into part 1, in a sense. Because
I know.
AIB be 30, and then the 30. So this would be part 1 of this show. So just give me we got to do a part 2 with Reggie Gay.
Okay,
so,
I know what you're saying. Okay,
yeah.
okay, for AIB. Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for watching Doni Jones Live. You've been watching me, Marty McFly, and the incomparable Reggie Gay. We hope to see you next week. And once again, thank you for watching. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.
Cool. All right. Pick it up on 3. Just trying to do all of my math for everything else.
Okay.
And we are rolling.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Doni Jones Live. I am Donnie the Tree Lady with...
Yeah, I got to make sure I'm Pastor
But
Marty.
Pastor Hot Butter, wasn't it?
Well, yellow butter. Yellow butter.
I see yellow butter for the day.
Why don't you tell us how you got that?
Well, it was
I
back
know
in
how
those.
you got it.
It was back in those college days.
Lord
where
Jesus.
we talk
All right,
about-
that's enough.
we-
Stop there. Stop.
Talk about needing
Yep.
tuition and
Don't
books.
say too much.
every
You're
once
talking
in a
too
while,
much.
I just say I needed
Exactly. We're going to leave that alone.
I need to
Get
make
the
some
Holy
money.
Ghost.
I needed to make some money.
Okay, that's
so,
enough.
yeah.
So anywho, Reggie Gay.
Yeah, we just leave it right there.
Yeah. Lord Jesus.
God knows our past.
Okay, we gotta talk to Reggie.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
There you go.
Keep it moving.
You know what?
Keep
I
it
said
moving.
that a lot during those times. Hallelujah.
Alrighty.
Jesus. Just bite the
Be a
pillow.
witness.
Bite the pillow. Just bite the pillow. So, anyway, Reggie, yes.
Right.
You know, it one of the things that I've always admired about you.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
you've been with, you know, like in the industry, you know, connection with different artists, and you've been true to yourself. And then some of the issues I think that you've tackled over the years, you've always wanted to make sure you was on the right side of history.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and with that, even with vaccines, even with these trials that are going on now, the marches, how did you, and I know it's a lot from your upbringing, but when there are situations that are on, I guess people are jumping on both sides of the bandwagon.
Yeah.
How do you try to make sure that you're on the right side of history? Because like you say, you know, people look at you. I'm not talking about you, Donnie. Any kind of way.
I felt like you looked at me.
You know, hit dogs holler
I'm
really
on
loud.
the right.
I didn't say that you was right or wrong.
Let's stay
I just say
focused
when we do tackle these views,
Right.
you know, being a personality and you know that people are listening to you and your voice has influence. How do you make sure that you are consciously trying to be on the right side of the issues that you may bring up or that you may tackle?
Well, it goes again back to foundational stuff, you know. For instance, with the vaccine, follow the data. 600,000 people are dead. Why wouldn't I get the shot? I don't plan on dying, not before my time. You follow what I mean?
Right.
So let's just talk about COVID for a moment. I don't get that. Why in the world are politicians and society politicizing that? I don't follow that. I really don't. Now, that's my opinion. Let me be clear, okay?
Right. That's my opinion.
My opinion.
Okay.
Let me be real clear. It's my opinion. So you ask me a question.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow the data.
Yeah.
Now, that's
Right.
just what Reggie Gay will do.
Yes.
And so what I'll do on my microphone or in front of my camera is I will give my views.
Yeah.
And I'm always willing to provide a disclaimer of sorts and say something like, now this is my opinion. Because you can't make folk do what they don't want to do.
That's true. And
Right.
that's, I see,
You know,
he knows,
right.
he said hit dog a holler. First of all, I see you haven't been watching that show. So anywho, for the record, anyone listening to the show, I am not anti-vax. I'm not.
Okay.
In fact, because I went to South Africa and I had a trip to Spain, I did
Rich.
get the.
Yeah.
I did get the shot. Okay. However, after doing my research and looking at the data and looking at the science, 98.6% of the people that get COVID recover from COVID. 98.4, I apologize. 98.4% of the people that get it recover. That's from the CDC and the World Health Organization. 1.6%. Love Joe Rogan. $100 million.
Okay.
So 1.6% of the people that die from COVID have pre-existing conditions of some sort, but yet we are not talking about health and nutrition. I've lost 20-something pounds, 27 pounds now since COVID started. A lot people gained weight during COVID. Okay,
so but a lot of people stayed at home
for the last 3 weeks.
People stayed at home. You've been out exercising.
Exactly, but I'm glad you mentioned that. One of the worst things that we did during COVID was to tell people to stay inside. That was literally one of the worst things. They may not need it to be all up in front of people, but being outside, getting exercise, taking good nutrition, getting good air, getting sunshine, taking supplements, losing the weight, addressing diabetes, addressing heart disease. These are all things that help your immune system so that you can fight COVID. Right. And if you want to get the vaccine, get it. Nobody's against you getting it. But there has to be room for people to say, listen, I take care of myself. And if I get COVID, I'm going to be fine. Because the thing is, there are people out there that do take care of themselves.
That's right.
And there's also natural immunity. There's people that have already had COVID. I already had COVID, but I still went and got the shot because I was afraid of going out of the country without it. But now that I've been out of the country and seen what has gone on in other countries, I'm like, why did I even do that to myself? But I don't want to get kicked off the radio, so we're not going to. And the views of this station does not reflect the views of this show.
And so the question was again for Reggie.
For Reggie, because we need to focus on you, Reggie. This is about you.
Actually, I'm enjoying the banter. Y'all carry on.
So we're here to talk with you.
Because the thing is,
because we don't want your show to get kicked off because of me. In my opinion.
Right, because he already explained he does his research and he just disclaimers.
Exactly.
Anyway, so but moving on, but even issues of like justice, issues, things that there might be two different sides of it. Just in a sense of like with me, I don't know all the answers. And I'm not going to pretend like I am a scientist or any aspect. I will say my views, but at the same time, what does my heart say?
Absolutely,
and what do because I'm saying with being in a pulpit, of course, I have to say things, biblical, but at the same time, I don't want to just say what somebody else said.
Sure.
If I do look back and say, you know what, I was wrong a couple of years ago.
Right.
And I'm okay with saying that, that I was or not even if I was wrong, but my views have changed since back then.
Yes.
Like when
views can change.
Right, views can change. I'm saying when Bill Cosby first came out,
oh God,
my view was one way, and then later on it's kind of like it shifted.
Talking about Reggie Gay right now.
And we are, and it is leading up to those kind of questions because like pastors that or the right one moment you're supporting, Eddie Long just throwing it out there. Okay, the man dead. He ain't gonna care. I really don't think he gonna care. If Eddie Long write the radio station, then we got a bigger problem. I'm just saying, we got a bigger problem. So in the beginning, before everything happened, people would stand up for him. And then afterwards, it's kind of like, well, maybe my view was different.
Oh, okay.
And that's what
now you're going in the right direction.
Okay. That's what I was saying in the beginning. But so things of that nature. Like the Eddie Long situation in a sense, because you were, he was in Atlanta. We all kind of knew what was going on, and we are.
A lot of people knew what was going on and didn't say nothing. Go ahead.
Well, we gonna leave that alone too.
Could you ask this man a question?
So if you stop interrupting me, okay. With those, how do you handle that? Especially with artists that you may have a relationship with that you see them doing some kind of scandalous stuff. Do you defend them? Do you just kind of like try to stay neutral? But how do you try to make sure that you're always on the right side in a sense?
Mama always said wrong is wrong. It's just wrong,
Yeah.
Colleagues in the industry and they're doing something wrong. If I get the opportunity, I'll point it out. If I get the opportunity, I'm not going to run them down.
Right.
Right.
If I get the opportunity, or if I'm asked, there's a thin line there. You have to be careful to offer your opinion with stuff, especially if you weren't solicited.
If it wasn't solicited,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you have to go with your conscience.
Yeah.
What is your conscience? What goes back? The whole thing with me goes back to rearing and boundaries.
And a foundation. A strong foundation.
It all goes back to that. If I look and see somebody going direction, get the opportunity. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Here's what would happen.
Absolutely. Reggie, one of the things that I've heard you mention several times is foundation and boundaries.
Right.
What do you think needs to happen nowadays? Because a lot of people don't have the foundation that you have.
Yeah.
What can they do?
Well, I think you need to find somebody that's stable, you know, somebody that just tell you the truth. I mean, gee whiz, people live in such mythical surrounding, you know, it's not real, you know.
Yeah.
Stop and take a breath and find somebody, ask God, pray, and ask God to lead you to somebody that can really mold your career. That's what my daddy did. My daddy molded my life. My mother put boundaries on me with the belt. Yeah, read between the lines on that one.
So Reggie, with that, did you have mentors in your
I
life?
did have mentors, yes. I'm very fortunate to have had mentors. My foundation, when I graduated from college, Eastern Kentucky University in Richmond, one, I could never seem to get away with anything other than what they knew I could do.
Yeah.
Never turn in second-hand work. Go back, do it again. God, dog. So, you know, you learn that work ethic about do it right from college. And I got out of school and I started working immediately. White guy named Dan Dorsett, at the WJMM, Ed Wright, Dennis Blaze, Mark Harris, Jim Tillery. I mean, these were all guys that just taught me the fundamentals. I've got the theoretical aspect from Eastern, but now you're out here in the streets with these guys who are real radio people, real radio people. Real radio guys, okay? And I don't mean anything by this when I say this. I'm just gonna say what I'm gonna say. But my early career teachers look like the back of our hand.
Got it.
Right.
Okay, all right, I've made my point. And so you move on. By the time I get to Atlanta, it was a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Okay? Atlanta's an African-American market. You ain't got to look for black people in Atlanta. They run into you.
Right.
There you are. So for me, it was a shift.
Yeah.
Because, you know, back home in Kentucky, well, there were black people in broadcasting, but not like in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So when I get here, I come here with this general market disposition, this general market attitude, this general market work ethic. And you come to Atlanta, and it's like, what?
But you know, I want to talk about that work ethic. We're going to take a quick break real quick and talk a little bit about that. How can people get in contact with you one more time?
Sure. My email address is Reggie Gay, spelled G-A-Y, no E, ReggieGay@ReggieGay.com. You get me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter. You can join me on LinkedIn. Remember, I got an app in the marketplace. You can download, listen to me on your mobile unit.
Love it. You are listening to Doni Jones Live. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with Reggie Gay and
Marty McFly.
Yeah,
Just over here, yellow butter. Yeah, okay, we'll be back.
yellow butter.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hey guys, I'm Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service. We are an Atlanta-based tree service serving all of Metro Atlanta. And you know what? We proudly serve the underserved. And not only that, when we cut down your trees, we don't charge extra for cleaning up. So give us a call at 770-413-8733. That's 770-413-TREE. Check out Don's Tree Service online or at www.donstree.com.
Don's Tree Service.
Hey, this is Marty McFly. Now, if you listen to the show, there's not a secret I'm a minister. I'm actually a pastor of a church, a wonderful church in East Point, Georgia, called St. Mark Lutheran Church. And what I want to do is invite you to one of our services, or any of our services. See, our service is online, on YouTube, and it's free. You ain't got to pay for it. You ain't even got to do offering. But I invite you to share with me in worship, and just check it out. If you like it, subscribe. And you can actually send me a message or a question. But it's St. Mark Lutheran Church with Minister Marty Ringer. You can actually log on right now and have church with me. That's St. Mark Lutheran Church with Minister Marty Ringer.
Hi, I'm Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service and author of my book, From Failure to Fabulous. From Failure to Fabulous is my story about taking my life from being an abject failure to building a fabulous life that I absolutely love. And I'm hoping that you'll take the time to check out my book, From Failure to Fabulous.
Get your copy of this inspiring book by Doni Jones entitled From Failure to Fabulous. Available now on Amazon and DoniJonesLive.com.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Welcome back to Doni Jones Live. I am Doni the Tree Lady.
Hanging out with that guy. That is I, Marty McFly.
Hey, boy, if that ain't OG, old school, Lord Jesus. Lord have mercy. You a young blood. Did you used to produce young?
Yeah, I used to produce
That's where you get that.
Yeah.
There you go. Oh, there you go. And of course, Reggie Gay.
I started off producing Reggie Gay in gospel, and it would be and actually the work ethic. That's one of the things that I learned.
That's what I was
very
about.
early because on Sunday morning,
Lord
a lot
Jesus.
of people don't understand the competition the way it was back in the late 90s.
That's right.
But on Sunday morning, we would be in, and one of my jobs was to listen to our competitive station.
That's right.
And I would have to write down every song that they played.
That's right.
You know,
Oh,
because
my
we would say, okay, if they're playing a quartet song, we need to play something like this. We need to make sure that our playlist is mimicking them. So we had a radio in our control room.
That's right.
Listening to the other station.
That's right.
You know, and that was, we would detail it, and it'd be our log to know what the competitor was doing.
Right.
But it showed me that you have to take this with passion.
Yeah.
You don't take a job just as, okay, well, I get a check, I'm gonna come in here and do it. But at the time, I think the owner, and I'll say this too, the owner of your organization kind of sets the mandate for everyone else.
That's right.
That time we were working for a company called Dickey Broadcasting, and the owner, the general manager was David Dickey.
That's right.
And he was an aggressive owner that wanted to win.
Yep.
You know, so he set that precedent out for everybody else. And me coming in, Bushy, I just got 21, I think, somewhere in there, and interning.
I've known you that long?
Very,
Bushy
very,
Yellow
very.
Butter. I'm gonna just leave all of this
You know,
alone.
he saved me. I changed my career from being Yellow Butter to, intern Marty. So, but no, it showed a sense of having business sense, and not just taking it for granted, but really trying to win.
Yeah.
So, with that, I would say, Reggie, was that something that would start with your father? Was that something that was instilled with you, or was that like something that came with the radio station environment, or your just tenacity of wanting to be the best?
All the above is where it came from.
Yeah.
Right. You can't keep up with your competition. You can't be asleep at the wheel. No, not in a competitive arena like broadcasting.
Yes.
It's competitive, Everybody's vying for ears on TV, eyes, and households.
So what advice would you give somebody like right now? I mean, I like to talk about it as far as entrepreneurship, but there are people that are still in radio that haven't transitioned into television or aren't. I also I heard you mention your social media and stuff.
Right.
And for those of us that are a little more seasoned, we're kind of hesitant to do that. How did that come so quickly to you? Because you're seasoned, I believe. You're seasoned.
Thank you.
Got a few years up.
Not old, but seasoned.
But seasoned.
Right.
And you seem to embrace it. So how did that happen?
It's part of the trend. You got to keep up the trend of things. It goes back to trending. If you don't keep up the trends, you get left behind.
That's right.
It's just the way it works now.
Did
I invent the internet? No, wish I did. I'd be somewhere on the beach right now. The beach, right?
There you go.
But you have to keep up with the trend of things. You have to stay relevant. You have to stay important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get pushed out
Right.
by somebody that is creative, that keeps up with the trend of things.
Right.
I learned business from some of the best.
Right.
You asked me about mentors earlier. Casey Kasem was in Los Angeles. Met Casey Kasem.
I remember Casey
Yeah.
Kasem.
Jesus,
Yeah.
Legend.
He was
long story
rich,
short.
too.
Well, I was on my way to LA, and my brother Jeffrey was visiting Atlanta, and so me with my ambitious self said, I ought to see if I can meet Casey Kasem. And then as soon as I said it, I started to talk myself out of the idea. My brother knowing how optimistic I am. What, Mr. Optimism? You gonna talk yourself out?
Yeah.
So long story short, I had this big thick book. Had Westwood One was producing his show at the time, and had the phone number. I called, the white girl answered, Mr. Kasem not available. I'll have him call you back. Yeah, right.
Right.
So I get on the computer and went to typing up a letter. Think what I'll write, and phone rang. Answered the phone. It was a telemarketer, Marty, back in them days,
Yeah.
Click. So I was on the phone with my good friend back home. He had call waiting. Beep. Hold on. This ain't this old doggone telemarketer calling me back again.
Yeah.
Clicked over with an attitude. Hello, Reggie Gay. Oh, my God, it was Casey Kasem.
Wow.
So, you have those kind of grounding, humbling experiences. And my point is, if Casey Kasem can return a phone call, Reggie Gay can return a phone call.
That's right. That's right.
That is...
But there's something so powerful about what you just said. Now, coming from an entrepreneurial standpoint, you picked up the phone and called.
Gotta make the initiative.
You had an idea and you
Yeah.
acted on that. And
Follow
so
up.
many people don't do that.
Yep. Talk
God
themselves out of
gives
it.
them an idea
Yep.
and they talk themselves out of it. And sometimes all you got to do is put one foot in front of the other and you'd be surprised what doors will open.
Well, I get that from my mother. I mean, my father was just, like I said earlier, the rock of the family. Daddy gonna be there. My mother was aggressive. If she saw something over there and she wanted it, she's going to get it.
Absolutely.
And you can be in her way if you want to, because she, oh, I'm so sorry, and she would keep right on going. That's exactly where I get that from. So that's what
awesome.
I mean. But my parents, I got the best of both worlds with my parents.
Yeah.
And to follow your point, you got an idea, follow through.
Follow through.
Follow through.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever be too busy you can't return a phone call. You never know what somebody has to offer
That's
you.
right.
I don't care who it is. Call people back. Here's what I get, though, when I call people back. Is this really Reggie Gay? Yes.
Yes.
Or, wow. Okay, well, ma'am, how can I help you? You called me. And they sit there for a moment, mulling. Well, people are so conditioned to not hear back from people. And I'm just so grateful to have the grounding. You know what I mean? Look, I ain't no better than nobody else. I'm just out here trying to make it like everybody else.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I think a lot of what happens with me with opening doors is, somebody say hello to you, just say hi back.
That's right.
That kind of work ethic.
Yeah.
Where I look at it.
If I could just jump in, because Reggie, you said something that speaks loud to me, and I think it really speaks loud to a lot of listeners that are listening right now.
Yeah.
That sometimes you can talk yourself out of your blessing.
Oh my God! Right. Yeah, that's
because
rich.
you just said you had the thought. You was like, nah, I ain't gonna call him.
Right.
And you was about to talk yourself
Follow
out
through.
of it. But just following through, you make that first step.
Yep.
And God kind of makes that other step.
Yeah.
And it does speak loudly, because I do think that sometimes personalities or we doing what we do, we take it for granted sometimes.
Yep.
That I used to see people in the radio station where the phone lines would be just lit up.
Not answering the phone.
And they're not answering the phone.
Oh my God, that's
You know.
immediate grounds for dismissal if I'm a program manager.
Right. But if these people take the initiative to call you, at least pick up the phone and says, hello. Because I don't feel like I'm anybody, but somebody called me the other day and it was a number that I didn't recognize.
Yeah.
And for one of the rare times I called back. And the guy was like, I don't believe you actually called me back.
Absolutely.
And it was a member from another church that was interested in my church and all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I'm glad that I didn't answer with an attitude, because I was really thinking it was a bill collector or something like that.
What kind of impression would that have made, Pastor Marty?
Like, this is Marty. What the you want? Oh, praise the Lord. How are you doing?
Oh, Lord.
But I want to really, really highlight that point of don't talk yourself out of it.
Yeah.
If the dream or the thought is on you, work with it. Utilize it. Follow through with it, because really the worst thing they can say is he's not available.
Right.
That's the worst thing.
Mary say, go get it.
Hey.
I love Mary.
Yeah.
What you doing, man?
Go get it.
Speaking of people that are inspiring, Mary is super inspiring for me, because they wrote a song and it was talking about, I forget the words, but they were talking about writing the checks and they don't know.
God in me.
Yeah, God in me. That's, that song just so good.
Now, wait a minute. The song "God in Me," but the only part you can remember is writing those checks.
Yeah,
Come on, we in America. Money.
The zeros in them.
That's right. That's right. With a whole lot of zeros.
Yeah, exactly. Checks with a whole lot of zeros.
Yeah.
Yes,
But
I love
what you
that.
don't know is when I get home and get behind. Oh, I'm sorry. I slipped right into it.
I love it. But we want you to slip into that mode.
Yes.
Because on this segment, we usually try to close the show with something inspiring.
Yes.
Usually we leave that to Minister Marty.
Yeah, but since I'm Pastor Yellow Butter today,
he tries to talk about the spiritual stuff.
We try, but
we would love it
if
if you've got something to say to the people out there.
Sure.
That could be encouraging or inspiring, or just something that God put on your heart to share with people.
Well, scripture comes to mind, Psalm 23:1. The Lord is our shepherd, and we don't have a want for anything. You have to remember that. There's a story that goes with the testimony. Remember Psalm 23:1. The Lord is our shepherd, and we shall not want. There's an old lady who had a deep and abiding faith in God. She just believed God would. She'd walk out on her front porch and she would shout, "Praise God, from whom all blessings flow." Problem for the old lady was there was an atheist that lived next door. Atheists believe there is no God. The lady would shout, "Praise God." The atheist would holler back, "Ah, shut up, old lady. No such thing as a God." The old lady kept on shouting, "Praise God." And as life has it, things got a little tight for the old lady. She didn't worry the Lord. She got on her knees and she prayed to God before she went to bed one night. "God, send me some groceries." She got up off her knees and she went to sleep. She got up the next morning and she walked out on her front porch. And there was 5 bags of groceries on her front porch from Wayfield Supermarket.
Wow.
If you live in Atlanta, you know what Wayfield is. All right. She picked up the first, second, and third, and fourth bag saying, "Praise God, from whom all blessings flow." She got ready to pick up that 5th bag, and that old atheist jumped out from behind them bushes and said, "Aha, old lady. Ain't nobody gone to that grocery store and bought them groceries. I went to the grocery store and bought them groceries." That old lady giggled under her breath, picked up that 5th bag of groceries and said, "Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. Not only did you send me the groceries that I prayed for, but you made the devil pay for them." I don't know what you're going through, brothers and sisters, but I want you to hold on to that scripture. God's word never lies. God's word can be trusted. Psalm 23:1, the Lord is our shepherd, and we don't have a want for anything as long as we trust in God.
Amen. Amen.
I think on that note,
yes,
enough said.
Enough said.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this time, we're going to pass around the virtual offering. So
now,
you can collect it
please
by
give
cash.
generously.
You can give it to
Marty,
Zillow, to Cash App,
we are
to your United Nick.
Please give generously.
Right.
We take EBT
generously.
cards,
Oh my God, yeah.
Cash App,
Right.
Zelle,
Right.
Apple Pay.
Apple Pay,
If
all
people
of that.
do want to do
The United Butter Foundation.
okay, we gonna let this man end it on how to get in contact with him.
Oh, yes.
Real quick. One more time, how to
Thank
get
you
in
so much,
contact.
sister.
Thank
You're
you.
a beautiful spirit.
Thank you.
I'm really delighted to meet you. I
God bless
really
you.
am.
The honor is mine.
Thank you.
And I'm
Thank you.
so thankful to meet you
You're
also.
very welcome. You're welcome.
One more time, how can people get in contact with
As always, ReggieGay.com on the internet. Before I go further, Marty Marr, I'm so proud of you.
I was like, is anybody gonna say they like me? No, I appreciate you being
Thank
here.
you, Marty.
Really,
I appreciate you so much, brother. This connection came as a result of you, and I appreciate it. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
ReggieGay.com on the internet, ReggieGay@ReggieGay.com. The email address. You can download my app to your mobile unit, listen to me on the go, and you can send me a friend request on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn. God bless.
Thank you. God bless.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you guys support Reggie Gay. Reach out
Thank
to
you.
him. Look for him
Yep.
online. And just tell him you heard him on Doni Jones Live. Once again, thank you for watching our show. You're listening to Doni Jones Live. I'm Doni the Tree Lady.
And I am that guy, Marty McFly. Love y'all. Talk to y'all soon. If you can, check me out this weekend on YouTube and see our service, St. Mark Lutheran Church. And if you need some tree work, Don's Tree Service.
Okay?
All right.
Yep. Take care of your tree. Legal trees.
Legal trees. We gotta go, y'all. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live. It's Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones Live.
Hey guys, I'm Doni the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service. We are an Atlanta-based tree service serving all of Metro Atlanta. And you know what? We proudly serve the underserved. And not only that, when we cut down your trees, we don't charge extra for cleaning up. So give us a call at 770-413-8733. That's 770-413-TREE. Check out Don's Tree Service online or at www.donstree.com.
Don's Tree Service.
Hey, this is Marty McFly. Now, if you listen to the show, there's not a secret I'm a minister. I'm actually a pastor of a church, a wonderful church in East Point, Georgia, called St. Mark Lutheran Church. And what I want to do is invite you to one of our services, or any of our services. See, our service is online, on YouTube, and it's free. You ain't got to pay for it. You ain't even got to do offering. But I invite you to share with me in worship, and just check it out. If you like it, subscribe. and you can actually send me a message or a question. But it's St. Mark Lutheran Church with Minister Marty Ringer. You can actually log on right now and have church with me. That's St. Mark Lutheran Church with Minister Marty Ringer.
Hi, I'm Donnie the Tree Lady, owner of Don's Tree Service and author of my book, From Failure to Fabulous. From Failure to Fabulous is my story about taking my life from being an abject failure to building a fabulous life that I absolutely love. And I'm hoping that you'll take the time to check out my book, From Failure to Fabulous.
Get your copy of this inspiring book by Doni Jones entitled From Failure to Fabulous. Available now on Amazon and DonnieJonesLive.com.
Doni Jones Live, Doni Jones